So we're going to start by just saying our names. I'm Margaret, by the way. I'm a junior at Wilson right now. I'd like to start.
I'm Nick Clampett.
And I'm Benita Alk.
I'm Ann Baldwin. I was Ann Morley Baldwin's also.
I'm Patricia Childs Crane. Mary Conrad Browning.
So since we've already covered some of the like pieces of your average day, I guess, what were the most popular places to hang out? Inside of school or outside of school when you were at Wilson?
Hot shop.
The hot shop?
Sure.
What was that?
It was across the street from the skating rink where we also spent a lot of time. But the best part was you go there after a date or a school function, and the car hops came out and served your meal right in the car.
It wasn't a date unless you went to the hot shop after the date. And that's when you saw all your friends and who was going out with who. And there was a lot of socializing at the hot shop. And then another thing at Wilson, you could eat your lunch outside. Remember when spring came and we were so happy to sit outside and you could just talk with one another. It was a lot of freedom. We didn't have any worry about guns. And you know, it was a very happy time. I don't think we ever had thought about drugs. We didn't have a problem with that. And so it was a lovely time for us because none of that was in our life.
So you didn't have security going into the building?
No, we didn't need to have any kind of security.
That's different now. You need to go through a security
Yes, I
scanner.
know, quite a bit.
Yes.
And you have fear now,
It's a
you know,
lot.
because of all the news reports of shootings and guns. And we were fortunate we were in such a wonderful time. When
Overall.
life was kind of much easier.
We had a Mr. Suber who kept us in line. He was an assistant principal. You didn't want to go see Mr. Suber.
Yeah.
A little bit more strictness, you know, you just didn't misbehave. I think the upbringing was different.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And we had respect. You respected your teachers, and I remember that our teachers, except for Grace Carter, they always seemed old. You know, the
Carter,
teachers.
Senorita Carter?
Yes,
She sat on the desk.
she was
and-
such a pretty lady, and
Yeah.
she was my Spanish teacher, and the way she taught things and she presented herself so well, I really enjoyed her. She really inspired me.
She sat on the desk with her feet on the chair,
Yeah.
and she taught. Yeah, she was really cute.
Yeah, a very good-looking lady. Compared to so many were old, you know, back then. The way it is now, when we were that age, postmen look old, the doctors were old, you know, teachers looked old, but now, it's a big difference.
And you addressed your teachers as Mrs.
Yes.
So-
Oh, yeah,
always,
never like
always.
hey, you know, it was just very
Yeah.
polite. We had, you know, we were brought up to, you respect your elders and be very respectful.
What percent of your teachers do you think were female as opposed to male?
Entirely.
90%.
Yeah, 90, or
Yeah.
a good 90%.
Let's see. So you mentioned the school fair.
Well, I guess it's in the yearbook. We had a fair, but I can't remember in detail. It was a happy time, but I don't remember that much about it. I don't know if we raised money for something. So I shouldn't have mentioned it, I think, because I don't have,
Were
I
there
just,
other like school activities? Or
well, you had the football games after school, and you had.
The operetta.
Oh, the
school play.
operetta.
Yeah.
I was going to tell you about the operetta.
Gilbert and Sullivan.
We had an operetta class
Mm-hmm.
every fall. You could take the class, and it extended beyond 3 o'clock. So you got some extra credit for it. The operetta was kind of the highlight of my life at Wilson. In the 10th grade, we had an operetta by the name of
Mikado.
Erminy. It was the year before Mikado. Erminy. It was something about a French villa. That's about all I remember. But back then we had a Thursday night cast and a Friday night cast. And I was in the Friday night cast. And I was kind of one of the lovers, I guess. Thursday night cast, there was a fellow by the name of Bob Belsley, and he had a girlfriend by the name of Ruthie. And every day at rehearsal, when it came time to kiss, they kissed. And Miss Sanders would go wild. So,
Happy Wild or Angry
yeah,
Wild?
my opposite was a young gal who was a little bit, came up to about my shoulder. She was really cute. Maybe you remember her, Annalie Rothbart.
Oh my gosh, yes, of course.
Yeah.
We talked about her earlier today.
Yeah. Well, Annalie was my opposite, and I was kind of shy, and I never held her hand hardly. But something prompted me that on Friday night, because Bob and Ruthie, when it came to the performance, didn't kiss. Maybe their parents had
Said no.
said no, right. But something told me that was my moment, and my hour. And so I marched onto the stage, and Annalie was there, and I did my thing. And the crowd was cheering. I got home that night, my parents said, "How'd you learn to do that?"
It takes practice.
So we had a lot of activities. We did have the yearbook, and my twin sister was very much involved with that. And we had a number of twins in our class. And I was on the Beacon, which still is the Beacon. I was the circulation manager. And I don't know how I got involved or whatever, but I circulation. And we must have had an advertising manager. And I think we must have charged.
I was a
Because I
distributor.
think people paid a small amount
Yeah.
in order to get the Beacon. And Reiner Krause and Ellen, I think they might have been co-editors. Anyway, they were twins. And I remember they were the editors. I can remember the room and everything. And the Beacon was read by everybody. And then there was every type of activity you could think of it. The town meetings and sports. I think here, my sister.
And I was
Here we have the Junior Red Cross,
Here, I'll get behind you.
the newscaster, the Social Studies Club, and
Honor
we are
Society.
proud, a number of us were members of the National Honor Society.
School store.
We had a
Yes, the
busket
school
and mask
store, oh my
club,
gosh, the
which,
Key Club, the
did
Busket and
deputy,
Basket.
the
So-
makeup.
And as for games, we played field hockey. No soccer. Soccer didn't exist. And volleyball and basketball, we did a lot of that after school.
Now,
And-
I was champion of the school with badminton, and Amy Morse and I were the doubles champion in badminton. We had a tumbling club.
Oh, good.
The gymnastics?
And we won the
Gymnastics
city
club.
championship in '53 and '54 football.
Oh, yes, football was big. And baseball, we had a baseball
Yeah,
team.
that year we won everything, golf, baseball, football.
And you know, one
whole
thing you
works.
don't do now, we had May Day with the girls danced around the maypole. We celebrated, remember that? And then we had square dancing.
Sadie
And
Hawkins
you had,
Day.
we did all that, which was fun.
We used to have a championship game in Griffith Stadium, which is no more. That was the football stadium before RFK.
Okay, right. It was on Georgia Avenue, near Florida Avenue.
Yeah, right where all the bakeries were.
No.
Soccer did exist, because at the junior high I went to, which was not where everybody else went to Wilson, but it was in the district. We played soccer in junior high. But
Which one
we
was
didn't
that?
have- I went to Langley for
I went to
2.5 years and then Taft for the last semester. That was the summer that they had to change 2 white junior highs to 2 black junior
Yeah.
highs because changing population, and that was one that was changed. So I had my last semester at Taft, and then my folks moved into the district.
And if you lived in Maryland, and you wanted to come to Wilson, you had to pay a fee. There was a set fee that you had to pay, and several of our students did live in Maryland. But we didn't have busing in, and everybody lived in the neighborhood. Bus tickets were 3 cents.
Yep.
And we would get, I think,
Transfer.
paper.
It was like a little, you could get tokens.
We'd get tokens, but I remember the tickets.
paper.
They were normally had about
They were
20
in
or
a
Yes,
book.
right.
we had little books of 20 or 25. And,
We used to sell them in the bank.
yes, we had to go to the bank, right. But it was at the school bank.
Yeah, school bank.
Yeah.
You all still have a school bank?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had that.
We lived in Prince George's County when we first moved down here. And PG County only went through 11th grade at that time.
Yeah.
So they weren't certified. So my dad paid tuition and sent us into the district for high school.
Back in those days, there were very limited suburbs, not much. The Maryland schools were BCC and Blair. That was about it. The Virginia school was Washington and Lee. That was about it. Didn't have all these far-flung suburbs.
We didn't
Everything
have-
was in the district.
Yeah, we didn't have the number of private schools like
Yeah.
we have today. I mean, there was St. Albans and then Bullis and Langdon,
Yeah.
and
Friends.
National
Bullis
Cathedral.
Prep, I guess Bullis.
Which ones?
Bullis Prep.
Yeah, Bullis Prep. So,
Oh, yeah.
most of the students went to public schools.
So her question is, did you travel by streetcar?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, but Wilson, it really was by bus.
By bus. Oh,
Because
yeah.
I don't remember, the streetcar did come up Connecticut Avenue,
No,
up
up
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Up
but it was
Wisconsin.
gone by then.
Right.
Yeah, up Wisconsin.
No.
Oh, he's still there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it went up Connecticut Avenue, it went up to Chevy Chase Circle.
But that was, they put those out in the late 30s. When we were in school, the streetcar went up Wisconsin Avenue all the way to
Wisconsin.
Friendship Heights and turned around
Yeah.
up there where
Okay,
Woodrow Lotham's or
Yeah.
Norton Taylor is now.
What I thought was interesting is we could choose our own teachers. We could make out our own schedule.
You can't do that now.
No, I don't think anybody can anywhere.
Because
But we
it's-
could figure out who we wanted. If we, had a teacher we liked, we could figure out how we could get that one again. And once in a while you got switched around, but mostly you could make out your own schedule. I have no idea how that worked and who labored over it in the office.
We had one counselor back then.
Yeah, and she wasn't very good.
No, she was kind of nasty.
I remember being told I wanted to take typing, and I was told, Smith and Wellesley do not accept that as a credit.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, I'm not going to Smith or Wellesley, and I want to be able to type my papers. Well, yeah, but I did take it.
well, typing was a required.
Yes, 'cause
I think I took typing in 9th grade.
Yeah, in junior high.
And I never, that was one of the most important
Yeah.
classes
Mhm.
in, for my continued life, is being able to touch type.
And then we had to take 2 years of a language. I took 2
Yeah.
years of, it was French in junior high, and then you had to take 2 years of a language in high school, and I took 2 years of Spanish.
Right. And there was Latin,
Latin.
but I
and-
don't remember German being,
No,
offered.
my sister took German when she went to Wilson.
Oh, she
But
did?
she graduated 6 years ahead of me.
oh, and they had
No,
German?
she took Latin, it was in New York, she
Latin.
took German, it was Latin she took, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah, we did Latin and French and
Right,
Spanish.
Nita, what are you holding?
What, who?
Tell them about the picture.
Oh.
Oh, okay. We had about, how many in our class?
250 at the 50th reunion.
Yeah, we had over 300 who graduated, but it wasn't much over 300. 400. Okay, and we had 200, this is our reunion, our 50th reunion, and it took place out at Kenwood Country Club. And we had 250 participate of the members of the class. And we have a good number, really, living. We've been very fortunate, having good health. And yes, we have some who've passed, but going through the numbers and everything, it's been very strong. And my twin sister has organized this reunion now, every reunion, from the 10th to the 15th to the 25th to the 35th. Even up in, we had a reunion, our 75th birthday, when we were all 75, and Wilson became 75. So that was our last reunion.
And when's the next one?
It was
Don't ask her
2 years
yet.
ago.
No, but when's the next one? Is it 65?
Next one? Well,
65?
We probably should not go further than 5, and that's wait to 10. I don't think, maybe at 5.
5
Five
would
would
probably
be
be
good.
more practical.
Yes.
You know, one of you mentioned the Sadie Hopkins dance. What was that about?
Sadie Hawkins?
Yeah.
Oh, the girls got to ask the boys
To the dance?
to the dance, uh-huh, yeah,
So did you do that?
sure, oh,
Did
yeah.
you- Did
I
you all
didn't.
get-
Pardon me?
I wonder if the other people did.
No, I didn't.
I didn't teach in high school.
She
I
went
think I had a
with Sadie
boyfriend at
Hawkins
that
dance.
time.
Did you ask a guy? I didn't.
I don't remember that.
No.
Did you dress in a certain manner that indicate more country style or
I
something?
don't remember that particularly. but
I remember the, what is the sock hop and all the shoes outside the gym. You saw everybody, and you never worried about not getting your shoes back, you just took your shoes off, and then you went in, and it was in the gym, and you danced in your socks.
But your shoes look very similar, right?
Well, I don't know how, I guess because they were saddle shoes or black loafers, but I don't know, we seemed to know whose shoes were who. I never thought that far, I don't know, but we did go home with our shoes, so I don't know, but I remember the sock hop, that it was at the gym, a lot of things, nice things at the school, it was enjoyable, fun, and then you'd get to decorate the gym for the dance and all of that.
And we'd have parties at the Kennedy Warren.
All right.
And everybody, as they mentioned earlier, we're all dressed up in formals. And it was good times. As for the stores that existed in the area, then we had Heckinger's and we had Sears. And then you had Woodruff and Lothrop that was up at Western Avenue. And of course, many of our stores just no longer exist.
Yeah, Jelliff's and Peck and Peck and all that. Gone.
Garfinkel's
They're gone.
There's so many that change over. It's a different time, but it was very safe. We never worried. Even from the time I was 6 years old, I can remember going on the bus to go various places or the streetcar.
We didn't worry about it.
Yep, we were
And you could
fortunate.
take a bus downtown when you were a
Yeah.
teenager, you could go to the Capitol Theater,
get-
the Palace, and you just didn't worry. You
3
just-
bus tokens for a quarter.
Was that
And
ever stolen?
No.
the token was good,
They
as
had
long as you got on the
locker in
bus,
school, like you
kept
do
going in
now.
the same direction, you could go all over the place. And if you came home, you put another. So 3 tokens for a quarter, driving all over the place.
And the shows, we had all these stage shows. You'd have
Oh,
some
yeah,
wonderful
Capitol.
movies, and then there would be great stage shows.
Yeah.
And it's just Saturdays and Sundays were fun. We'd go down and do these things.
I was a member of the Y-Teen Club. I have no recollection of what the heck we did in Y-Teen.
I was a member of the Y-Teen Club.
And there was, one year, there was some big conference, workshop, I don't know what it was, downtown, and Mamie Eisenhower was going to appear as part of whatever the program was. And I was there, and I was asked to come over here. You need to shake hands with Mrs. Eisenhower. And I'm thinking, why would I do this? But they needed someone short. You don't realize how short she was. And they didn't want anyone taller than her. And so I greeted her, shook her hand, and thought, okay, taking care of this. And they said, oh no, you need to do it again, because we didn't get all the pictures we wanted. And I'm thinking, how does one say, how do you do, it's nice to meet you,
Again.
when you've just done that? But I did it, and it didn't faze her at all. She was very used to this. But I have a picture of myself with Mamie Eisenhower. She is short.
Back in those days, we had for graduation every time, we had a baccalaureate service in the Washington Cathedral. And the choir would put on their green robes and be part of the service.
Well, the National Honor Society was very important, and I was proud to be able to give my granddaughter, who has graduated from Wilson 5 years ago, my National Honor Society pin.
Oh, that's nice.
So that was very nice. They don't give those out anymore. I think you have to buy them or something anyway.
I think all 3 of us applied for the National Honor
You
Society.
still have
In
a
your
school
junior
ring.
years?
Yes, we're all
You apply the end of junior year or the beginning of senior year to
And they
be
have
a,
a school
as a
ring,
senior.
so you can buy.
Yes, you can buy
And
those.
choose the stone that you want.
I don't know exactly how it works, but
Oh.
I'm sure something like that.
Do you all remember Mrs. Carroll, math teacher?
What was her name?
Carroll.
I don't remember her.
She was my cousin.
Oh.
That's how I made it through geometry.
I remember Mrs. Thrasher taught us typing, and it turned out that her son then ended up living next door to me. And I remember Mrs. Crawford was my homeroom teacher, and she taught biology. And none of us really cared for our gym teacher, our PE teacher.
Mrs. Hedge? Remember Mrs. Hedge?
I remember Mrs. Hedge.
Yeah, she was our homeroom teacher when I went into Wilson. Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, She should have been in the showers.
Why didn't you like her?
No, we were lucky. Mrs.
She
we had-
cracked me across the
We
room
had
with the
government,
yardstick
we had
and
government was one of our courses, and a lot of good history courses. Good rounded program.
Yeah, good school.
And social studies, I enjoyed social studies.
Principal is Dr. Brocker, remember him?
He was a principal.
Yeah, principal.
Yes, right.
He had been the principal at Coolidge. Both my brothers went to Coolidge before we moved to Chevy Chase. And he moved to Coolidge, to Wilson when I went to Wilson.
I had gone in, I went to Wilson starting in February, because I was in a half-year
Yeah.
class, and I didn't want to graduate in February, so I wanted to take extra courses and get out in June. And they informed me that I had to take a study hall, because I was an incoming student and I needed to get adjusted before I took a full schedule. And it annoyed me no end, and I ended up having to take two classes one summer. And it was in Roosevelt that summer, and it was on the 3rd floor, and it was 106 in the room. And I did not learn a whole lot of geometry that summer. I memorized enough and got through, but they, they were insistent. I needed to have study hall, and I don't know if you ever took study hall, but it was worthless.
I did
You
that.
couldn't get anything done.
I was a February student too. When I came in, the principal at Alice Deal, his name was Bertie Backus. I've heard about her, I never met her. She didn't like mid-year classes, so she pushed everybody either forward or backwards. When I went in, there was 25 people in the class. And so I kind of stayed away from there. I worked in the bookstore, worked on the newspaper, in the choir and all that type of thing, yeah. But one thing I remember about Wilson was I've always been a person that believed that everybody has a destiny of some sort. And my destiny occurred in this first summer I was there, between classes, between semesters. I got a call in the middle of the summer telling me that Spanish 2 would not be offered, that I had to choose something else. And I said, well, give me some selection there. And they said, well, there's shop this and shop that and something else I wasn't interested in. They said, there's bookkeeping. So I said, sounds interesting, I'll take bookkeeping. So I took bookkeeping and I started working in the bank, and then when I left, I went to Benjamin Franklin, which was an accounting school, and ended up CPA. So that's where my destiny started that summer, when I didn't, which was a real blessing that I didn't have to take Spanish too.
And we had, what was it, the hygiene class where you learned how to make a bed with hospital corners.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, more of that. I still
Home
make it,
economics.
I still do it.
Yes.
I taught my children, because when you make the hospital corners, the sheets stay in better.
I learned how to use a sewing machine with
Yeah,
a treadle.
treadle.
The treadle,
Yeah.
remember
Yes.
that? We had to make our dresses, didn't we?
Oh,
That
we
was in
made something.
something. Well, I know in 9th grade, we had to make our dresses for graduation.
Oh, my gosh.
But that deal, at Alice Deal, 'cause I know you
I
don't,
did-
yeah,
I
because I have a
remember
picture
that.
of myself with my white dress on.
I
And
guess
one of Mother's friends, because it was it was kind of hard to do.
Oh, yes.
And I was so proud of my dress. And but Mother's, I could take it home on the weekend, and I had to have a little help with it, just with the hand, your hand hemming. I didn't have a machine, but I remember that when I tell my daughters about the sewing machine, they're like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you are really woo.